level advisory committee for China's World Internet Conference. Prior to founding his own company, he was president and CEO of ICANN, the global authority management of the Internet's logical infrastructure, which ensured one Internet for the whole world. He also founded and led several countries, that would be even more impressive, but led several companies in the digital space, including Viacor, which was acquired by IBM in 2006. So over the last 30 years, Fadi has held several industry posts at global corporations like ITT, Ingram, and most recently he was general manager of IBM Global Technology Services in the Middle East and Africa. He is currently the senior advisor to Avery Partners in Boston, an equal private equity investment firm focused solely on media. And he also serves as the executive chairman of Vocado LLC, a cloud-based education software company which he founded in 2007. And we are lucky to have him with us today, and his current home base is in Los Angeles, California. Thank you, Fadi.
Okay, good afternoon. I see some friends here that I know. Happy to see you all. Happy to meet new people. I told my mom I'm going to the youth meeting. She's 90 years old, so she said I'm coming along. Just adjusting the average age. I was fired at my very first job in LA. I was a messenger on a bicycle. It was November 1980, I still remember. Abun Antonio sent me to this place. He said, go get a job there, so you can pay for a little bit of the cost of living in the basement of his church, which is where I lived when I first came to America. And the guy fired me on the first day. I said, why? He said, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but you smell. Smell? I showered last Saturday. Precisely. I said, what do you mean? He said, you have to shower every day in America. Every day. So that's the first leg of my career. Luck has it that because I was fired from this job, I learned, of course, to shower every day. And my next job was to peel onions. I literally spent 6 months in the back of a pizza restaurant in San Gabriel peeling onions. So I smelled pretty bad. I needed a shower after that. And thankfully, there was a doctor, an ophthalmologist at St. Mary's Church who saved my eyes after peeling 50 pounds of onions a day. Careers are fun. We start as immigrants, wherever we can. And I remember the head of the pizza restaurant there, the manager, telling me, I've never had an onion peeler like you. And he gave me a huge raise, double the normal raise after 6 months. He gave me a whole dime extra because I was an amazing onion peeler. So it went up to $2.35 an hour. And I remember, why was I a good onion peeler? What made me an amazing onion peeler in this guy's eyes? Because as Christians, we do everything for the same purpose. It doesn't matter. Peeling onions, messengering things on a bike, running the internet, which I did for the last 4 years. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's whatever God puts in front of us. It's the same purpose. And if we find it early on, whether you peel onions or whatever you started with, then it becomes easy. If we don't find that purpose early on, then it never works. It just never works. I'm going to try to give you back some time so we can talk and have more questions. But what I will share with you, I'll divide into 3 parts. First, I want to make sure we're in agreement on the purpose, on what is it that drives us in at the end of the day, what moves you? What makes you who you are? And if we agree on that, then let's get into a little bit the actual work part. I was asked to speak about career. I've done a lot of things. I'm now teaching at Harvard, I'm teaching at Oxford about leadership. I'm doing a lot of things today. So career-wise, I've done well. But if we don't have the basics right, nothing will work. So let's get the basics right. Then we can talk about career a little bit and about the adventure of the career. The first thing that I like to say is we've been invited to be co-creators with the Lord. This is the purpose that I understand, that drives me. At the end of the day, the Lord is an amazing architect. He built this wonderful life for us. Wonderful, great vision, great. He had the vision of building something where we are partners with Him, where we are co-creators with Him. What does it mean to be a co-creator with the Lord? Sounds like a big deal. How can I be? He made me in His image, right? He said, you're in my image. You're like me. What does it mean we're like Him? It means we have to create like Him. Because the Lord, before anything else, is a creator. He built everything we know. He built us. And so, to be co-creators means we have to do what He did. And what did He do? He made us humans like Him. He divinized humanity. Mary is a vessel that brought God to man. Each of us is called to be like Mary, to divinize humanity. And that's the purpose. That's the only purpose we have. We have no other purposes. So when we divinize humanity, it means as we walk through life, peeling onions, building things, whatever we do, doctors, politicians, we just heard a great story from a guy living, divinizing his environment, Mario, right? We have to bring souls along the way with us to this finish line. I lost a brother a few years ago. He died of a sudden heart attack. He kept a diary. He was very good at keeping a diary, thank God, because he was young. He lost him. So his diary became how we still live with him today. And in his diary, he almost all the time had one thing that he kept repeating that is amazing to me. He kept writing about making sure that his wife and his children will be saved. He didn't speak about himself. He kept saying, my whole purpose is to make sure that my family, my wife, my kids are all going to be with me in heaven. So his purpose was to divinize first his family, then our work, then our life, to bring all those you meet along the way with you. That's our purpose. Our purpose is that no one, this is something also my brother had shared with me, no one should come our way in vain. No one should touch our path for nothing. No one. I left Lebanon, so for those of you wondering why my name doesn't sound Egyptian, my parents are very Coptic. You can ask my mom. But they left Egypt before I was born, and my dad founded the first Coptic Orthodox Church of Egyptian lineage in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa, in the 40s and 50s. Then he moved to Beirut and did the same thing, founded the first Coptic church in Beirut, and I was born there. So that's how I have a quote-unquote Lebanese last name. But, I'm very Coptic, like all of you here, or most of you. And so I had to leave Lebanon because Lebanon in the 70s had a very bad civil war. And I remember getting on a flight alone in the middle seat, bombs falling, having just left my family, my mother, my father, my brothers who were older than me. And I was, of course, doing what? I was 13. They put me on a one-way flight to Cairo to go to my grandmother. I was crying. I was crying like a baby. I didn't know if I'd see my family again. I was afraid. And my brother gave me a card which said, don't open till you're on the plane. So as soon as I sat in that little seat, streaming with just tears, I opened that card. And in that card, he put that on. And he told me, right now, you're on this trip, and it's a trip that is part of your adventure that God prepared for you. And he says, I know you're crying, but you should stop crying and look to your right, look to your left, and make sure that those people don't come your way in vain. God put them in that seat next to you for a reason. Start loving them. That's our purpose. There is no other purpose. The rest, career, what we do, this is background material. That's the picture. You know, if you've been to the Louvre in Paris, or if you've seen a great painting like La Joconde, and you look at her, and you see nothing else. You see the face. It doesn't matter what's around a great painting, a great face. So that's our great face. The rest is colors. It's great, it's important, it makes our face pop out. But if the purpose is not right, if we don't understand that we are co-creators, then we miss it. And the rest will not matter. Have you experienced fire close? If you haven't experienced fire close, fire has unique characteristics. Either there is a fire, or there's no fire. There's nothing in between. Right? So when fire exists, you know it. You know it. There's no denial. Fire is very powerful. And the spirit that moves us is fire. And the Lord used fire to show the Spirit many times. Fire consumes everything in its way. Fire makes everything onto itself. And this is how the Lord works. So when you're out there co-creating with the Lord, you are fire. Are you full of fire? And if you are full of fire, nothing will come your way in vain. And no one will have a mistake that you're full of fire. They may not know. People in the world sometimes look at you and say, you're different. I just don't get why you do these things. And it's okay, by the way. We don't need to run around with a huge label that say, I am a Christian. We don't. In fact, the best thing to do is to be. Being, not doing. Being is more important. Not saying, not doing. Being fire. When you are the fire, nothing around you will not take the shape of Christ. Everything will take the shape of Christ. If you've seen a room that, or a house that had fire in it, you can tell. And it leaves nothing in its way. We had a fire in my home many years ago. In fact, I still wear the scars of it. Most of my skin on my hands from my arm. And my son was burned pretty heavily. A third of his body was completely, he had no skin. A third of his body. And I remember that day because I had given that lecture on the fire at St. Mark's Church to the youth. And then we had a fire in the house. And I got burned and my son got burned. And let me tell you something. I wear that scar all the time. You know, years on, decades on, I still have that scar. It doesn't go away. And it reminds me that when we are fire, full of Christ, full of Spirit, the people around us get scarred with Christ. And they may not know what it means, but they will catch up with it at some point. Do not let anyone come your way in vain. If they're burnt by Christ, they will remain with him, even if they don't know it. You heard Mario today say, he went to church, he was just going through the motions, but Christ was working on him already. Christ is always working on us. So, be the fire. Don't talk about the fire. You know, when my brother passed away, I actually stopped talking in churches. This is only the second time, when did I pass away? 2008. This is only the second time I speak since then. Because when my brother never made speeches. He lived. He was a good Christian. He lived his Christianity. And And so I said, I want to spend some years like him. And we should learn to do that. We should speak less and actually be, not do. Doing is the human thing. Being is the spiritual thing. Now let's talk about career. So, ambition. Everyone has ambition. By the way, the word ambition comes from a Latin word, which is ambire. And ambire in Italian and Latin actually has a very bad connotation. It means kind of working with people so you can get ahead. And in fact, until the 18th century, it was a very negative word. If you want to put someone down, you say, he's ambitious. Okay. Then it became a positive word with capitalism. Capitalism made ambition the right thing to do. So is ambition good or bad? What do you think? Do you think to be ambitious is a good thing or a bad thing? Or could it be both? I'm very ambitious. I'm very, very ambitious. I actually have a very hard time stopping, always looking to advance. It depends what you're ambitious for, not about. What is driving your ambition? Is your ambition driven by things that are selfish, or is it driven by your need to be a co-creator? By making the world become more divine, by making humanity more divine. I think ambition, if based on the right spirit, and the right spirit says that when you're fulfilled with the Lord, there is no room for anything else. But if you enter a career in America and you have emptiness, and you let the world fill that emptiness, that's when your ambition becomes destructive. But if you start your career from fullness, from feeling full inside, from feeling completely in the Lord, then ambition is good because suddenly you are working in the world on the project of the Lord, which is to divinize the world. So please, when you feel this ambition in your heart, I want to do this, I want to go do this next thing. My son just told me, he just started a master's degree at the University of Chicago. He says, Dad, I need to go for a PhD. I said, Philip, calm down. You just started your master's degree. Why are you moving so fast? And so we have ambition. I mean, did I look down on his interest to do the next thing? No, I actually embraced it. I was very happy for him. But it's important that that ambition is rooted in fullness, not in emptiness. Is he doing it because he wants to prove something to someone? Or to achieve something that he would be proud of? Or is he doing it so that he can bring the Lord's word to fruition? Even better. What is driving us? Make sure it's always from fullness. I'm going to share with you a few experiences. I was responsible for 4 years for the layer of the internet that makes the internet one internet. As you know, the internet, maybe just a 2-minute technical lecture. I see people here from Salesforce.com and different folks from the technology sector. You know, the internet is not one network. It's 74,000 networks today, and it's growing all the time. So there's no internet. All those networks, mobile, satellite, underwater, whatever, all those networks become one network because of something called the logical infrastructure of the internet. That's what makes everything looks like one. And then above that logical infrastructure are all the applications that many of you use. So email is an application. The World Wide Web is an application. All these things are things that use the internet. So the internet, as I just described, has 3 layers. Networks, the logical infrastructure, and then all the applications. I was responsible for that middle layer. And if I were to draw these, it would be like an hourglass, where the internet, the networks are many and fragmented. The applications are many and fragmented, right? There are tons of applications. But the thing that made the whole thing look like one hourglass was the middle part. If that middle part broke, what would happen? We'd have multiple internets. What does that mean? It means you could be in Cairo and go on your phone and click on a link or go to www.ibm.com and you'll end up on a different machine than IBM.com. Or maybe the IBM.com machine that CC approved, for example, or in China. That's exactly what's happening. They're forcing companies to go to a certain place. So maintaining that oneness of the internet was critical to make sure that anyone in the world that accesses anything on the internet finds it in the same exact way. And to do that, I had to manage something called the root of the internet. So it's little known that the internet has an actual root system. Everything goes back to that root. And we distributed that root to 13 locations in the world so that it's secure. And I was responsible to make sure that never got penetrated or broken. So enough of the technology. Now let me bring you back to why this was important. So when I took the job, I was told, why do you want to do this? Why is this job important? And I said, one thing. The internet is a communications infrastructure that brings us together, that unites us in a way that's never happened in history. So when forces, and many forces of evil, were trying to break it into multiple internets, I said, that's the mission. We need to stop that. We need to stay as one. I went to the Vatican to meet with the nuncio who was responsible for all communications for the Vatican. And he told me Catholic means universal. And he said, for hundreds of years, the church has been trying to keep the church as one universal church. And he says, you know what? The one thing that is now guaranteed will remain one church is the internet. So the Catholic Church bought from ICANN .Catholic so that they can start uniting the Catholic Church under .Catholic. By the way, all of us youth should be buying .Coptic soon for our own church so that we have one place on the internet that's our identity. We'll talk about that later. But my point is, oneness was my mission. And I felt it's God's mission, that we keep the internet as one infrastructure. And that meant I had to convince the Chinese not to break off the internet. I had to convince the Brazilians not to break off the internet. I had to convince Modi in India not to break off the internet. Because their instinct was, let's create an Indian internet. So we have it. So in that story, now I'll bring you back to the diplomacy of life. You remember a guy called Snowden? You know what he did? He, of course, outed a lot of things that the US government does to look inside the internet. So when Snowden happened, the president of Brazil at the time, her name is Dilma Rousseff, went to the United Nations and made a huge speech in which she said what? This is unacceptable. I am the president of the country. How could someone be listening to my phone? We need to create new rules of the United Nations to control the internet. The Americans couldn't answer her because, in fact, they were caught with their hand in the job. So I was called to the White House, and I was told, you need to go to Brazil to meet Dilma Rousseff and change her mind. And I said, how am I going to do that? Go to Brazil, are you giving me diplomatic mission? Are you giving me a flag? How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? And they said, that's no problem, you think you can do this. I packed my bags and I went to the city of Brazil, which is in the middle of nowhere in Brazil, but that's where the government of Brazil is. And I went and I started knocking on ministries' doors, literally, and saying, I will meet President Dilma Rousseff. And of course I was laughed off. Who are you to meet President? Oh, I run ICANN. This is the internet thing. She's not going to meet you. Now, for those of you who know Brasilia or are into architecture, Brasilia, the city of Brasilia, the heart of the capital of Brazil, was built by a famous architect, Brazilian architect, and he built all the government buildings in a big U. At the end of the U is the president's palace, and across from it, in the middle of the U, is a gorgeous church. Beautiful. Look it up online. It's right across from the presidential palace. And it was named to St. Mary. So I have, of course, no office in Brazil. I made the church my office. I moved in. And I stayed in the church. I brought my assistant with me from LA. She's Brazilian. And I said, Cassia, we're going to sit in the church and pray. Because something will break. Cassia was not religious. Okay, fine, you know, I'm your assistant. I'll go along for the right, but I don't think this will get you to see the president. I said, let's start. So I did. And long story, which I'll write one day, 3 days later, at 11 a.m., I was in the office with President Bush. Sat next to her, and she was very mad. That morning, the U.S. State Department called me and told me she is so mad, she might completely dress you down and take all her anger at the United States government on you. Are you prepared for this? And I said, well, yes. You know, I'm going to go see her and we'll see. At 10 a.m., they called me and they said, don't go. Turn around and come back because it will be a bloodbath. I said, look, I'm willing to stay. I don't need your protection anyway. You didn't tell me to get in. Let me just go in and see her. They said, okay, you're on your own. So I went in and I saw her. And again, long story short, and I just want to tell you what happened in that moment. Because that's this point I want to tell you. So I knew she's very mad. And I knew I had absolutely no mechanism to convince her to change her mind. She made a public, powerful speech denouncing the United States and denouncing the oneness of the internet. And I knew that she was about to announce a partnership with China to create a separate internet from the Western world. That Brazil and China would create. I knew it. And I knew it technically, for those of you who are technical, it means we went deep into the internet layers and we found out that the Chinese and her were testing an alternate route for the internet. We knew it. She didn't know I knew that, but I knew. So I walked in and I said to myself after we got the appointment, I thank God for the appointment at the church, and I said to myself, I don't know what to tell her. I had no idea how to change her mind. I prayed to God that He allows me, despite all my misgivings and my knowledge about her not so good plans, to actually go in and be kind to her. To actually go in and love her the way Christ would love her. And this is before Dilma Rousseff got into trouble and impeached in the last year. And she was a very powerful president. So I walked into her office. All her ministers were telling her that she shouldn't meet with me. In front of me, one of her ministers, Paulo Bernardo, told her, don't talk to him. He's from the American side. She's a socialist president. The meeting was supposed to be 20 minutes. I was with her for an hour and a half. During that hour and a half, I learned about her children, about her grandchildren. I engaged her on how to protect her grandchildren from pornography on the internet. We spoke about everything except the problem. I was completely empty there for her. I went in empty. I had no plans. I did not go in to conquer her, to win the point. I went in to love this person that God put in front of me at this moment. Because I knew I didn't get the appointment on my own. I got the appointment because the Lord wanted me to see me. So I said, hey, you finished the work. The Americans told me to leave with all their might and power. And you put me in front of her. You work now. You know what she did at the end of the meeting? After we did nothing but talk about everything except the issue, she then asked me, why did you come to see me? And I said, because you made an incredibly good speech at the United Nations. And she said, do you think so? I said, yes, because it came from your heart. So here, I was a diplomat. I told her, that speech came from your heart. And honestly, I had spoken to an ex-Secretary General called Kofi Annan, who was in the room when she spoke. And he told me she spoke from the heart. So I told her, you spoke from your heart. You were frustrated. She said, I was frustrated. And then I told her, so why did you go to the UN to make this speech? She said, because we need to solve it. It can't be that a few powerful countries and companies can control our lives like this. And I said, and do you think the United Nations will solve your problem? Do you think the Chinese will solve your problem? And her face changed. She knew I knew. And she said, and her ministers were all doing this. Don't answer. They were all saying, you can go on the net, you can see my pictures with her in that meeting because it's all public. They were all shaking their head, and she was next to me, and she said, I actually don't think that will help me. And then I knew that the Lord has just finished his work. Because she, the president of the country, in her own office, had just told me, nobody, I have nothing. She owes me nothing. She told me, I can't do it. She showed her weakness. She was disarmed by her from all the power and was now talking honestly. She said, I don't. When the Lord works, he works in amazing ways. All he needs is for us to let him work. That's it, just to let him work. So we start being full. I didn't go to see her empty, wanting to say I took a picture with her, or I met her, or I conquered her, or I got into her office, or I changed her mind. Or I went in completely full because I'm doing my job. I'm already fulfilled. And then through that fullness, she asked me what to do. She said, what do you suggest I do? And I told her, after Easter, immediately after Easter, so this was in November, I told her, after Easter, let's hold a meeting in Sao Paulo and unite the world. Let's invite the Russians and the Chinese and the Americans. And let's do a big meeting where we show the world there can be one internet. And all she said is to the press secretary, set up the press conference. She didn't even tell me I will. She walked out. She said, what date, Mr. Chehade? I said, 24th of April. So she said, I announced today that on the 24th of April, we're going to hold the first global meeting to keep the internet, one internet. And I will be there personally. And it was the most important meeting in the history of the internet for the last 20, 30 years that she held on that day and unified. And we brought the Chinese and we brought the Russians. Putin sent his top guy to be there at that meeting to commit to one internet. And that project, which I finished just 2 weeks ago, you may have seen Senator Cruz talk about it because he tried to stop it. He did. And he put my pictures in the Senate and said, this is a crazy idea, but it happened, and the Lord let it happen, and the Americans left their control of the internet at midnight on September 30th. All of this happened because we used a new form of diplomacy, which I'm teaching about now, called the diplomacy of love. The diplomacy of loving the other person, not to achieve your goals, because I am on the USC board for public diplomacy, and in public diplomacy or diplomacy in general, it's about using techniques to convince the other of your point. Diplomacy of love is the opposite of that. It's actually walking in, not wanting to win them or convince them, but only to love them. And miracles happen. Miracles happen. We have to believe in that. Finally, on career, wealth is good. In fact, what do we call resources? We call them goods. Goods are good. Wealth is very good. It is not a bad thing. We're all wealthy already. I was wealthy when I was peeling onions, and I'm wealthy today. But it depends what drives your wealth. Is it because you believe you want to possess a lot more? Because if all you try to do is possess more, you will be possessed by it. That's what will happen. If you think you can possess money and power and degrees and career, that means you don't understand how powerful they are, because they will possess you. But if you believe all we are is people who are entrusted with some of God's wealth, and we just happen to manage it along the way, then God will give you plenty. Plenty. And more than you can imagine. I mean, my mom could tell you stories about my father, who at some point, she tells me, and this is before I was born, They had a house in Addis Ababa, in Ethiopia, where they had like 150 servants and workers in the house. Very wealthy. And then they brought all this wealth to Beirut, put it all in the biggest bank in Beirut, just trying to settle, and the bank does what? Belly up. And this is, we didn't have FDIC in the time. They lost their entire fortune. Everything. Nothing was left. Zip. My dad tells the story that when he left the bank, people were crying, screaming, yelling. Everybody lost their money. It was the biggest bank in Beirut, and my dad lost all his fortune. And he found a woman sitting on a sidewalk curb, crying. And he leans on her and he says, "Malik, why are you crying?" She said, "I've been selling on the street, on the corner of the street, gum, chiplets gum, and they used to sell it, for 12 years. So I can save this much money to send my son to college." And that money was in this bank. And this was, of course, to them, this was, God sent her to put him where he needs to be, to understand that all this wealth was given to him, and it can go away, and it will come back. And he became wealthy again, entirely, because he understood that that wealth wasn't his. And if you believe that you just aren't trusted with whatever God gives you at that time, God will multiply this. If you believe you earned it. You know how many times here in America we say, "You earned it"? If you believe you earned your success, you are possessed by it. It's not yours, and it's not blessed. So let go. Let go. Feel like a trustee, not the owner. Yeah? Universities don't have even board members or shareholders. They have trustees. So you should feel like a trustee of the wealth that God has given. I'm going to finish with a couple of slides because I was asked to address balance. People like Mark and others here who know me and Mary, they know that some people in our community don't think I'm balanced. I work very hard. I fly about 700,000 miles per year. Right? So I'm on the road a lot today. Even pilots are not allowed to fly more than half an hour. So I'm a heavy traveler. I'm all over the place. But let me tell you something. This is very important. I really want to convey this to you because I learned this from my father. Do not compartmentalize your spiritual life. We come from a monastic church. And so a lot of our spiritual pedigree is in prayer and song, salah, and all the things that are critical. But let me just be clear with you. My experience is that if we compartmentalize God to one part of our life, then God becomes like the white coat of a doctor. I used to have a teacher who would tell me, "Do you wear your Christianity like the white coat of the doctor?" When you see a doctor walking on the street here, you don't know he's a doctor or she's a doctor because they have no white coat. But in the hospital, they have a white coat, doctor, So do we wear our Christianity like this on Sundays when we pray at certain times, and the rest of the time we have no coat? Or do we wear our Christianity all the time? There should be no compartmentalization. Your work is a prayer. Your work is a prayer. Your family life is a prayer. Your entertainment, watching a football game like Mario, if you love it, that could be a prayer too. Everything is a prayer. I learned that showering is a kind thing to do to others. So even cleaning up, even the simplest things you do every morning, brushing your teeth, do it out of love for the person that you'll meet next to. You don't have that practice. Everything can be transformed into a prayer. We don't need to compartmentalize our Christianity. It doesn't happen only on Sundays from 8 to noon. It's all week. In fact, if it happens only Sundays from 8 to noon, it frankly doesn't feel right. Then 8 to noon becomes, okay, fine, let's go to church on Sunday. Finish out, check the box. It's awful. If that's what we're down to, it's an awful place to be. So take it all the time. Our life, every bit of it, should be divinized. Just like we are divinizing the world. Divinize every part of your life. When no one is looking and when everybody is looking. Put God in everything we do. Don't complain. You know, Saint Teresa of Avila, forgive me, a Catholic saint, but she said, where there's no love, good love, and there will be none. I love that. It means, don't go in and say, oh, there's no love here. These are, oh, they hate each other, they're bad people, this company is full of... No, she says, if there is no love, good love, and guess what? There won't be love. So we have that duty. We have that job to divinize everything. Put the Lord into everything we do. Don't create spiritual boundaries. That's when we fail. All of us studied physics. Light comes from 7 colors. So spirituality is also similar. It's all the aspects of your life. So I learned a lesson as a child. I was 13 when somebody taught me this lesson, to take every color of the rainbow and assign something to it in my life. And then believe that if I don't live all 7, there is no light in my life. You know, so for me, red is about money, orange is about sharing my experiences with others, my family. So for every color, we put a purpose, right? Blue is about being harmonious, creating harmonious environments. Green is about being healthy, eating well, playing sports. So give the 7 colors a piece of your life. And then remember that if you live only one, you will not have light. My son is rougher than me and big, and he exercises and keeps his muscles in better shape than me. And I once told him that if he worked out every day his bicep, his right bicep, for example, how would he look after him? If all he did is just work at that one muscle, he'd look like a monster. You know, a huge bicep and the rest of his body. So when we work out one part of our lives, and we become avid this or that, and we leave everything else to tankers, we become monsters. And that's all we have to do to keep that balance, is to remember no spiritual boundaries. Everything we do, everything. Going to a movie, going to a nice concert, going out with friends, praying. No boundaries. It's all the same. Good God where there is no God, and there will be God. Everywhere. Except for sin. It's close. Except for sin. Just don't cross that line. And you know when you cross it. Everything else is okay. It's good. My last slide is about the man. So we talked a little bit about purpose. We talked a bit about career. I shared with you a couple of stories. And then I want to finish with this map. Some of you are young married, so you will be parents soon. Nobody gave you a manual on how to be a good father and mother. Nobody gave us a good manual on how to be good Christians. I will posit to you that not even the Lord has given us a manual. There is no manual. You say, oh, but the Bible is the manual, and the writings of the church are a manual. They're not a manual. I'll tell you why. Because each of our journeys is unique. Your journey on how you will become a saint and you will be one with Him is different from hers, is different from mine. So the Lord wants us to actually build our map with Him. He's inviting us to work with Him on our map. So I love Mario, when you guys asked him the last question, you told him, what is your vision? Someone asked him, right? And what did he say? It changes every day. This may have been, counterintuitive. We're here to all learn about vision, but there's some beauty and truth in what he said. That we should surrender to the journey and call it an adventure. It's an adventure. I don't know what the Lord wants from me tomorrow. Last night I had at my home the founder of the World Economic Forum. He came to have dinner with my wife, Klaus Schwab. So here we're sitting with Klaus, and Klaus is a visionary guy, and he's saying, so Fadi, what is your vision for the future now that you made ICANN, whatever, independent from the US government? I said, I don't know, Klaus. I have no idea. He said, what do you mean you have no idea? Do you want to make peace in the Middle East or something? Should we go talk to Sisi? And I said, no. I don't make plans like this. He's non-religious. He is very clear that he does not believe in it. So I had to tell him something without imposing my views on him. He knows I'm a cult, and he knows I'm a Christian. So I said to him, when you were 20, did you know you will found the most important business club of the planet? Did you know that? He says, no, absolutely not. I was a professor in Germany, heading to get a PhD, and I thought, you know, I'll be a nice little professor in a German university. So I said, how did you get here with that? What got you here? You know, he's 80. He's not a kid. He's a very powerful man. And he stumbled. He couldn't tell me how he got there. So I used that to tell him precisely. We don't know. In Egypt, we have this wonderful habit which drives some of us crazy. You never hear someone in German say, no, it's actually very Egyptian. It's a remarkable thing that we have this, this ability to actually, it's okay not to be in control. Right? If you're German, if you're logical, you're in control all the time. He was not in control. He just didn't know how to say it. But we Christians, we are in control of one thing, which is to give up control to Him. And once we do, it is a beautiful journey. It's an adventure. And believe that He will lead you on the most beautiful adventures. You will be amazed what He will prepare for you. And it's all in front of you. You guys are young. Some of us have gray hair now. Buddha and I have had our stories of things we've done in our youth when we were your age. But I love the fact that my mom is 90 and she still wants to go to school and learn things, and she just figured out Uber and now we can stop. She's learning. She's learning all the time. She's young all the time. So you are lucky that in fact you do have years in front of you. That journey, that adventure is all in front of you. Believe it, positively. Give yourself to it, adventure with it, and you will be amazed. Lots of good things. Okay, I'm done.